This is a demo of the new personal budgeting simulation that's coming to personalfinancelab.com starting in the fall of 2019. As the general concept of the budgeting simulation, it exists separate and independent of the stock market game. This means that the actions that your students take in the budgeting game are going to be completely separate from the stock game. The stock game relies on real-world, real-life data. However, in the personal budgeting game, your student is going to be taking on the role of a college student with a part-time job. They're going to be tasked with striking a balance between working, studying, and leisure. So that means they're going to have to make decisions throughout the game on how they're going to be spending their time, and more importantly, how they're spending their money. They need to work on building up their net worth while managing their credit, and so improving their credit score, keeping a balance with their variable income coming from a part-time job, and variable expenses that are typical of a college student. Unlike other budgeting simulations, ours try to be very careful to tailor the simulation to the real-life scenarios that a typical college student would make. This means that they don't have the luxury of having a fixed income every month. They need to be able to react to the changing world around them, both in the hours that they're given with their job and the different types of expenses that they're likely to be incurring in the real world. So let's take a look at what we have inside. Each of the budget simulations takes place over 12 simulated months. Each month takes students approximately 20 to 30 minutes to complete. They'll be able to take different actions throughout the month depending on what happens with them with these simulated adventures from the real world. They're going to have to, their main goal is to start transferring money from their checking account to their savings account. So they're going to need to maintain enough money in their checking account to pay their bills, but they want to start moving more and more money into their savings account to start reaching their savings goals. Their savings goals go up from bronze, gold, silver, and platinum depending on how much they're able to save each month. At the same time, for the purchases they make, they have the option of using their debit card or their credit card. Using their credit card builds up their credit score, but they'll need to remember to pay their credit card statements on time. They'll start with all of their money in their checking account, and as the game goes on, they'll need to start transferring money from checking to savings. They can earn more money by getting certain questions right, making certain choices that can earn more money, and they can lose money by random events that happen in the game or getting certain types of questions wrong that pop up throughout the simulation. At the start of each month, they're given a summary of what the total fixed expenses they're going to have over the course of the month. These payments are all going to be due by the time the month ends. They're going to come directly from the student's checking account. So they'll have a fixed amount of rent, they'll have phone bills, insurance payments to make, tuition payments to make for their school, groceries, and gasoline for their car. Now, throughout the month, they're also going to have a lot of variable expenses come up. But to start with, we ask the students to sum up how much they think that their total fixed expenses are going to be, and they can get an extra few dollars by getting these kinds of questions right. In these cases, we typically give the students the access to a calculator so they have an easier time in making this calculation without having to do it in their head. So when I add these up, I can enter the amount that I think that I'm going to owe, and I press submit to get the calculation. Now, if students get questions like these wrong, they'll get a small penalty, usually between $10 and $15. And if I continue, it's going to take me into my first month. So next, your students are going to find out what kind of hours are they actually going to get at their job. So once they push it, they're told how much money they're going to be earning each week, how much they're going to owe, and they need to again calculate what's going to be total income for the month. So I can see first 2 weeks I only get 4 hours, but week 3 I start to get a little bit more. They're also charged income tax on all of their earnings, and because their part-time job is focused on working at a cafe, they're also going to be earning some tips. So again, they're going to add this up and then press submit to calculate the final amount that they believe they're going to be earning this month. Now in this case, I put the wrong calculation in for my monthly income. So that means that since I put the wrong answer in, I lost some money. So let's continue and actually get into the game itself. So this is the real meat of it. This is where the students can be making most of their actions. So basically the way it works is they're going to roll these dice here, and it's going to tell them how far along they move. So each day has a morning and a night, and random events can happen to them at any point. So let me roll the dice for the first time to give you an idea what I mean. So I'm being prompted I need to go to the car wash, and I need to decide whether or not I'm going to pay for a deluxe seating package for $12. So for this time, let's just say I do it. So each time I need to make a transaction like this, I have the option to use my debit card, which comes in on my checking account, or my credit card, which comes from my credit card. So there's advantages and disadvantages of using both. Basically, one of the objectives of the game is encouraging the student to put as much money as possible into their savings account, which means that their checking balance usually shouldn't be hovering too high. So the advantage of using their debit card, or credit card in this case, means that they're saving more money in their checking account for their fixed expenses as they come up. This is especially the case early in the month because I haven't gotten any paychecks this month yet, so I've just had what's available left over from last month. The advantage of the debit card, of course, is they won't need to remember to make credit card payments. But then again, if they don't make credit card payments at all, then they're never going to build up their credit score. So this time I'm going to use my credit card. Alright, so there we go. I use my credit card. So spending alert, $12. Okay. So now that I've done that, there's something on my credit card, so I can look at my credit card statement, which I'm going to click over here. So in my credit card statement, basically there's some stuff that's left over from last month because the billing period is from the 19th of the month. So after the 19th, I paid off my credit card last time, but then I also made some purchases, as you can see here, on the 22nd. So that rolls over to the next month. Just like a real checking account, they can choose to make a minimum payment each month. They can pay off the whole amount. They can make any payments at any time. And they have credit limits. They have available credit and all that stuff in between. So I'm going to be responsible right now. I'm going to pay off my whole amount right here, right now. Alright, so I made my payment and I'm congratulated for it. So continue and go on to the rest of the game. So let's roll the dice again. Alright, so in this case, some college football fans came out of place and I got some parking fees. So I made $30, that goes straight to my checking account. So on the weekend is when I receive my weekly paycheck. So I just got this $179 for my week 1 of pay. And then I get here, this is my weekly summary. Here's my checking account when we started. Here's the income that I made, the expenses I had, the credit card payments I made, and then some of the other stuff that happened to my account during that time. Checking balance, savings balance, credit card balance is all laid out, and your students have kind of a gauge showing how far they're going to go up to the net worth. Their goal, of course, is to try to get this up as far as they can. So I got my paycheck, and then I continued, and the dice finished its roll, and it brought me to another decision. So this case, it's a quiz. So some of these quizzes are going to ask students to calculate how much something is based on withholdings. Sometimes it's going to be quiz questions over personal finance vocabulary. Basically, it's a lot of random events. So here I need to calculate how much did their employer withhold from their paycheck. So let's just say $38 for now. So I got this one wrong. I lost $5. So just like everything else, it tells me I basically get rewarded for getting the right answer, or I get penalized for getting the wrong one. So I continue, and now I'll just continue through another round of the game. So once a week, students are asked what are they going to do during the weekend. So they basically have 4 decisions. They can do them in any order, but what they choose here is going to impact what happens for the rest of the game. So they can choose to earn more money, pick up some extra hours at the cafe where you work. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. They can also socialize, spend some time with their friends, go household, so spend some time working around the house, and studying, so focusing on school. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of doing each thing. So earning more money, it's pretty obvious you'll have more money. But that means you're neglecting your household chores and studying. So if you don't do your household stuff often enough, you're going to start having more events dealing with having bad hygiene and not doing things properly, like getting a cockroach infestation, you have to pay for an exterminator. At the same time, if you do your household things quite often, then you can have things like you were able to clip coupons and save $45 in your grocery bill, things like that. Studying has the same thing. If you don't study often enough, then you can start falling behind in your grades and you'll have to hire a tutor to start to catch up. At the same time, if you study a lot, you can have things like being able to spend a lot of time at the library, so you don't need to buy as many study guides and textbooks. So you'll save a couple $100s that way over the course of a month. And socializing, basically, this changes the random events having to do with your friends throughout the game. So the more socializing events you do, the more likely it is that you're going to have cheaper or free events that your friends invite you to, rather than just expensive movie nights and stuff. So Each one has an advantage, each has a disadvantage, but to start off, I'm going to show you the most exciting one, which is earning some extra money. So this puts the student actually in the cafe that they work. So the idea here is you need to set tables, pour coffee, clear tables and things like that, and you'll earn $3 for each table they serve. So I'll start here, and it goes straight into the Cash Crunch Cafe. Basically, they have 30 seconds to it's basically a matching game. They'll put the coffee where it goes, they'll take the dishes back to the dishwasher, and everything in between. So $3 for each task they complete. You can see the extra earning is adding up here at the bottom, and the events here will pop up basically as fast as I can do them. So I will speed up here just a little bit. So here I finished the cafe game. Basically it takes the amount of tips that I earned throughout the game, and it removes the tax, and that is my take-home pay. So here it goes, and I'm back into the month where I started from. So again, I can go into my account summary here. I can see what's happened. I can see the money I just earned from my cafe game. I can see how much money I've spent and everything else in between. My financial summary is going to show me how well I've done. And in the financial summary, it does encourage me to start saving more money. So I've already saved the maximum amount to get all my medals, but as students start saving more and more money, we actually start giving them medal rewards. So they get a bronze medal, a silver medal, a gold medal, a platinum medal. The platinum medal comes up when they're able to put at least $5,000 into their savings account. And they have graphs showing how things move over the week. There's also another financial summary that pops up at the end of the month, which is going to show how their net worth and savings rates have been changing from month to month. Now, as the game goes on, it starts out pretty simple. The events that your students are going to get are going to cost them $12 or $30 or something here and there. But as they get into month 2, 3, 4, the decisions they need to make get a lot more impactful. So they'll have, a $200 or $300 decision they need to make. Are you going to buy a new TV? Or are you going to buy running shoes? If they're cheap on their running shoes, there's a probability where they're going to get some blisters on their feet, and they're going to need to buy some medicine to address that. Things like that. So no two students are going to have the same game. It's not exactly level playing field because there is an element of chance and there's an element of randomness, but the actual experience of trying to manage their own personal finances is pretty reflective of how things actually work in the real world. Things come up. They will, if they have a part-time job with a variable income, that's when people need to have the strongest type of budgeting skills. They need to understand, how can I leverage my credit card to bridge the gap between paycheck here, and when my credit card is due. So likely they'll learn to use their credit card to move as much money as possible into their savings account, use their credit card earlier in the month until they get enough paychecks to pay it off by the end of the month, which helps them build up their credit score at the bottom here, and hitting those savings goals and building their credit score is going to help build up their game score too. So it's all trying to build those healthy habits. You as the teacher are going to have a lot of reports available, seeing what kinds of actions the students have been doing from month to month. How is their savings balance increasing? How is their checking balance? Who's missing their credit card payments? Things like that. Students do have the ability to bring money out of checking back into savings, but of course the game itself heavily discourages that as much as possible. So this has been a pretty early tech demo. We're still doing a lot of development on this over the summer, and we hope to have it released by August 1st, 2019. So if you have any questions, you can come to personalfinancelab.com or email me directly, kevin@personalfinancelab.com.